Back on the case of Marilyn Kutner and her £12,000 estate. Heir hunter Hector Birchwood has been battling against the odds to find any siblings for her father Aaron. The problem lay in the variations in the spelling of her grandmother Annie Horowicz's surname. But eventually, after an exhaustive search, he discovered 4 potentials, 1 sister and 3 brothers. While tracing the descendants of one of the brothers, Reuben Kutner, Hector managed to speak to some relations who gave him some vital information.
All they could tell me was that they knew he changed his name. He changed his name to something similar to Kutner, maybe Coates or Cuts, and he married someone by the name of Jean. And they were sure that he had a daughter called Sharon. That's all I had to go on.
Deciding to change your name sounds like a drastic step, but for many Jews living in England in the early 20th century, it was a necessary decision.
They would anglicise their names because they didn't want to sound foreign, and indeed they weren't foreign. They'd be born in this country, they spoke proper English, they were educated, etc., but they didn't want to stand out as foreigners.
Having faced persecution abroad, the Jews were now confronted with prejudice in their adopted country. At the outbreak of the First World War, things got worse.
And of course, a lot of these Jewish immigrants had Germanic-sounding names, and indeed there were riots in the East End of London where English people would throw bricks through the windows of shops which had German-sounding names, which of course they weren't Germans, they were Jewish.
Hector and his team were now up against their 3rd name-based conundrum on this case. This time, he had the nightmarish task of trying to find all the marriages for somebody with a surname that sounded a bit like Kutner or Kutz, who had married a Jean.
We made a particularly long list of these potential marriages and then worked those marriages down to see if one of them yielded a daughter by the name of Sharon.
Eventually, by a process of elimination, one of them did. Hector found a marriage in the 1940s of a Reginald Irwin Coates and a Jean or Jenny Tash, who'd shortened her name from Tashinsky. All Hector needed now was positive proof that Reginald and Reuben were the same person.
We found Reginald Irwin's death, and his date of birth matched the date of birth that we had for Reuben Kutner. And once we were able to speak to his daughter, then we knew we had the right man.